Hi everyone, this video I'm going to show you how to fix up your Fluval Roma's aquarium lights if they've broken. I recently purchased this tank on eBay and one of the lights wasn't working, so I had a look into how to replace this. Now this fix will only cost you £10, and essentially what you're doing is replacing two components. So in the older lighting systems, on the T8 lights, which are the size of the lights that are in the Fluval Roma case, they consist of two things to get them going. A starter, which increases the voltage up to essentially cause an arc across the tube, and then a ballast, which actually restricts the amount of power that goes through them to stop them burning out. Now, the more modern lighting units have all of this combined into one system. This will drive two lights, and this you'll need one for each tube essentially. Now the one that I've purchased is £10 for an 18-watt output along two tubes. So if you've got a larger Fluval Roma, this will still work. You're just going to need to get a higher rating on the ballast unit. I'll put a link in the comment section to explain which one you need, and the video is going to just show you the wiring setup. I'm going to draw that out and then I'll walk you through it as well in the tank, because I know for some people that's a bit of a daunting aspect as to how to wire the thing up, but it's really straightforward, and once you watch the video hopefully you understand how to do it, and if you don't, just give me a shout in the comments and I'll help you out. The first thing that you need to do is, on the lighting unit, remove the top of it, and I'll show you that now. So I've taken the unit off the Roma fish tank and I've placed it upside down. Along here you'll see there's three holes on each side, and then there's clip fasteners either side of that. What you're going to need to do is start on one end, and you need to get a screwdriver in there and push that out, prise it out, and you'll probably hear some cracking. Now when I turn this around, you'll see I've taken this one off already. Underneath it, there's essentially a there's like silicone sealant all the way around it. So that cracking is going to be that sealant coming off. It's not stuck on too tightly. Once you've got one section off, you can get something flat underneath here, like a steel ruler or something, to basically prise it off very gently all the way along the length of the piece of plastic. Once you've got that off, you're ready to sort out the wiring inside. This bit is where the most technical part of it comes from, and if you get this, then you'll be comfortable doing this at home. If you've got some electronics knowledge, this is pretty straightforward. If you haven't, it might look a bit foreign to you. So I'm just going to try and explain it as simply as I can, so you get the idea. Basically, this is the wiring diagram for the ballast that you're going to buy. So it looks a bit complicated, but actually all these represent is the fluorescent tubes, which have 4 pins on each tube, and basically it tells you which numbers to wire them into on the ballast box. Now when you actually look at the box itself on the side, this is the old one, but you're going to have 1 to 16 or a similar number. It doesn't quite matter as long as you get the idea it's in order. This might be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this might be 1 and 2. Doesn't matter. On here it's going to be labelled like that, and you're going to have a similar diagram like this on the actual box. So pins 3 and 4, or it might be 1 and 2, doesn't matter, essentially this side with these symbols on it, mean that they go to the live input from your plug. Now it doesn't matter for this one which way around they go, it doesn't speculate which one it is. If you get the same version that I've bought, it will be the same. You can plug them in either way and it will work it out and sort it out for you. So in the box you're going to see the power cable coming in, and then you're going to see a brown and a blue cable coming out of that. That's where they go. When you get to this side, the easiest thing to think of is these as fluorescent tubes with pins on them. So essentially this is one tube and then this is another tube here, and they've each got their 4 pins. Now all this is saying is pin 16 needs to go to this side of the tube, yeah? So this one goes to 16, or whatever number you've got. This one goes to pin 15. Quite straightforward. All you need to do is essentially remember that this is the top of how it comes through the box that contains all the power stuff, basically. So when you look at the box, you're going to have the holders, and the tubes clip into the holders, and then inside the box there's cables that come through, some on the top and some on the bottom of the box. This side, you just have to make sure that you stay for the top of that and the top of that. If you do that, you can't go wrong, essentially. So on this side of it, it's saying that the cable that comes out of the top side of this bulb needs to go into this bulb here. So we can put that in with a cable, that's no problem. This one here, so the bottom side of the right side of this tube, needs to go into pin 14. And then the top one of this one needs to go into pin 13, or whatever numbers you've got. And then on this side, essentially top side of this tube 12 and this one into 11. All you're going to do now is basically get your wires and go and link them from this part into that area on the ballast box. That's all you've got to do. Once you've done that, you can test it out and see if it works. I'm going to show you this again actually on the box itself, so hopefully you get the idea even more so. When I first got my light and realised that I couldn't run the other light fittings, I looked, and as you can see, somebody's cut this and taken the starter out. So you'll have two starters if you've got a normal unit, and these will be plumbed in essentially. What you need to do is remove this and keep as many of the cables as possible, because you're going to want to reuse those to connect it up to the new ballast. I took out the old ballast, which you can see here. I just basically unscrewed that and took all of the cables out. I left as much of the cabling in as possible because I wanted to reuse all of that. You can find all this stuff on the internet, but essentially each of the circle areas here, this represents a fluorescent tube and that represents the other fluorescent tube. The easiest thing to start to do is I chose the bottom of each bulb to be the bottom connectors on the fluorescent tubings. So where the cable's coming out, the bottom of this one, the bottom of here, this side, I chose to be connected to pin 9. So essentially that goes pushed into pin 9. The top of it is saying that the top of the bulb needs to be pinned into pin 10. So I put the top cable into pin 10, which is that one there. Looking at pin 11, that needs to go to the top side of the other side of the tube. So you can see here I've got this long cable, number 11, runs all the way over to this side and is plumbed into the top side of this fitting here. Zoom in there for you. So this one here goes into the top of this bulb. The bottom of this bulb is saying that it needs to go into the top of the opposite side. So this piece here, you can see, links from the bottom to the top. Coming back around, the bottom of this one on the wiring diagram, let me get that in focus again. So the bottom of the left hand lamp over that side needs to go into pin 12. So there it is, you can see another long cable going in straight into pin 12. On this side then you've got the top one which needs to go into pin 14, and then the bottom one which goes into pin 13. And that is your lot. On this side, it doesn't matter which way around you wire these in. Basically, one's positive and negative from your live feed from the power socket, but this will work either way. I had to get an extra piece of cable in there to reach, but you might be able to reuse some of the cable that you've already got in there. If not, just get a little bit of cable. I actually used speaker cable, quite a reasonable thickness because I wasn't sure how much power was going to go down it. You don't want a really thin one because it could burn out. And I've used these blocks, these were already in there. It's sealed at the bottom, so what I would say is don't get the top of this wet. if it does get wet, then turn your lights off and make sure that it's all dried out, because you don't want water getting here. This will affect these connectors. You might, if you've got a glue gun, you could potentially solder them together and then use a glue gun to seal them up, basically, so no water can get in, and then you've got watertight connectors. However, that doesn't make any difference to the ballast box, because obviously here you've got open connectors anyway. Anyway, that's that. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. What I'm going to do now is I've bought some silicone sealant, which just some silicone glue. It's aquarium safe, and I'll whiz this round the top of this, and that'll basically watertight that up a bit better, and put the top back on, and it's ready to go. The end result you should see is, turn that on, and there you go, you've got both lamps working. I've got an aqua glow lamp, and then I've bought a standard 6500K lamp, which is that one off the internet. This was £5. That was £8.50. This is one for growing, and that one's just to make the tank look bright. Anyway, that's that done.